Hello and welcome to the Geek Philosophy Podcast. This is episode 7. We are getting up there. Alright, thank you so much to the people that's been listening to us on the podcast, whether it's on iTunes or Google Play. For those who watch us on YouTube, thank you so much for your support. And we're going to do some different things that we'll talk about at the end, where we're going to keep vamping up and getting more engagement. So thank you for joining us on this journey, and keep joining us and giving us your thoughts and philosophies down below. Yeah, this is a big week too. This is Comic-Con week.
Big week, yeah.
Please, if you haven't already liked the Facebook channel or the Facebook page, please do. We're gonna drop trailers, articles, name it, from Comic-Con, and we're also gonna be doing a special episode on YouTube to kind of recap everything that's going on in Comic-Con. So make sure you tune on to the page, subscribe so you can get alerted, and ring that bell so you can get alerted when that drops out. But yeah, this is a big week, and I would love to talk about everything that's going on in Comic-Con right now, but we're recording this on Friday, and
we're right in the middle of it.
And let's face it, we're only day 2, and we got today and tomorrow left, and there's a lot more things coming up. So we decided to not talk about Comic-Con on this podcast episode. We'll wait until our recap episode. Alright? But let's go ahead and get into it. We have Comcast is finally threw white flag in.
Yeah, it sounds like it. For those of you who have been keeping up with this or watching our podcasts and videos, this has been a weekly thing, really. New updates every week. And it seems like at this point, Comcast has finally decided to give up, which is good for all the fans that want to see a combined MCU.
Yep.
I guess this was kind of expected.
Yeah. They weren't going to win it. I really feel like this was just you know what? This is a Storage Wars episode where I'm just trying to make the other guy spend more. I don't like him.
Right.
I'm just going to try to make him spend more than he should.
And it sounds like they've given up on it in favor of, was it Sky?
Sky, yes.
Sky
That's
TV.
what they're focused on, the streaming service in Europe, where they can really focus on being that international sports channel streaming service. So it's not a bad play. And it's a lot less costly, too.
Way less costly.
But I strongly feel like Comcast was never really in it to try to get it.
No, I think they were kind of, the only hope they had was to try and win by some sort of mistake on Disney's part. You know, if there was some sort of major issue that Disney had that was unforeseen, and they could just catch it as the deal fell apart.
But Disney has been trying way too. They've been throwing out feelers that this was going to happen for a while now. I mean, they canceled Fantastic Four comic book, and then they already announced they were revamping it and bringing it back. They were doing so much with the TV shows and so forth, starting to incorporate stuff. So I knew it was going to happen. Yeah. The question is, how much are you going to spend? So congratulations to all those parties. Now, it's still not finalized. It's still going to be a good while before we see anything. They haven't really officially signed yet either. So, but this confirms they're the only deal now.
Right. It would be really difficult for this whole thing to fall apart at this point, but it is not a done deal yet.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you up to date on all of that as everything progresses. I would imagine we'd have pen on paper sometime within the next month or so, because I think that was, although they still have Disney, or the Fox shareholder still has a lawsuit out.
Yeah, which I don't see that getting resolved within a month. So you might not see a signing until like maybe the end of August or beginning of September. But even after that, you're still talking possibly a year,
right,
to get everything worked out and the people in power and so forth to transition. There's a transitioning point with companies like this. So
yeah, this is one of the biggest mergers that has ever happened. So it's going to take some time. But stay tuned to the channel. We'll keep you up to date on all that.
And while we're talking about Disney, let's talk about Charlie Cox comes out and says he does want that Daredevil Spider-Man crossover.
Right. And I think the fans would love to see it. I think
Charlie Cox is a man after my own heart, because he knows he's a fanboy himself.
Right. And it would also be a pretty awesome thing for his career if he could, because I'd love to see, Daredevil and Spider-Man are really two of the most closely linked characters in all of comics.
As far as the history of those two, they're like Spider-Man has definitely gone to Daredevil several times as a more mentor-like person because he does the same thing. He's more of a neighborhood person.
Right.
He's not trying to go across seas and fight. He's like, my territory is New York, Hell's Kitchen. This is my territory. This is what I protect.
Although I think it would really be a lot of fun to see the two of them on screen just because of the juxtaposition of the two characters you have. Spider-Man being a kid, basically, and Daredevil taking things as seriously as he does.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. I'm not sure if it'll ever happen, though. I don't know why, but Disney and Marvel don't seem to want to... they could even throw in the smallest hint of something, but they haven't done that yet to tie that Netflix universe together with...
How much would it cost? Just throw a web in one Daredevil episode and you watch the fandom freak out.
The Netflix equivalent of a post-credit stinger or something. Anything like that would be fun, but they haven't bothered besides a few mentionings to the very first Avengers movie. There's really no other tie that I can think of. So
I mean, they've done some ties to the Incredible Hulk because he had Ben Urch have all those articles and so forth in his office. Like that for some reason that scene just really still resonates with me. You see like the Harlem fight, which Hulk was doing with Abomination at that time.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, just give us a little bit more.
Yeah, but that's just barely getting by on something that really shouldn't be very difficult. Anything to keep us happy as fans. So we have another some movie news on the same side of Marvel.
So Black Widow movie has finally got a director.
Yeah,
and it's taken how many? We've been rumored about Black Widow movie for how long? It had to
at least a couple of years.
It has to be at least 4 years.
Yeah.
Do we want a Black Widow movie?
I think it could be a good break from the rest of the Marvel movies, just like Ant-Man was. But even more so. So Ant-Man was kind of a heist movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't this global, catastrophic, everybody has superpowers sort of movie. It was a fun, low key, not totally grounded, of course, but compared to the others, grounded. I think I'd like to see that. Maybe just
I'm not interested for some reason, and I feel like they jumped on this a little too late.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely way too late on it.
3 years from now, 3 years ago, I would have been like, I'm on board. But then we've had more spy movies out. We've had the Red Sparrow come out recently.
Right.
Like, I don't know what they can really do.
Red Sparrow and Atomic Blonde and all those. Yeah.
I feel like just we've gotten enough we need to know about Black Widow in the movies with the flashbacks. I mean, the flashback in Age of Ultron 2 was a little interesting, but not enough for me to watch a whole movie on it.
What if they did more of a dive into, because there's a lot of backstory with her and Hawkeye. They could go into more of where they knew each other from.
Then it'll turn into a Black Widow and Hawkeye movie instead of a Black Widow movie.
It depends on how much.
And let's face it, how much of us really want to see more Hawkeye? We barely missed him in Infinity War.
Yeah.
There was no one really out there complaining. Oh, why wasn't there Hawkeye?
Right. Nothing against Jeremy Renner, but just the character compared to others.
I think Marvel has more female superheroes they can really focus on.
But they haven't been utilizing them that well.
And I think that's the chance to really do it. Yeah. Introduce something new. Don't show me a character that you've been having on the sidelines for the last, 7 years? You've had it on the sidelines for 7 years.
Yeah.
Didn't want to do it. Now you want to do something about it? I'm not that interested. Am I going to watch it? Probably. I've already got my money. But I think it's a little too late. I don't think it's going to get as much buzz as it would have got 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I'm sure they could do something entertaining with it. I'm open to hear what they're going to be doing. And I think it could be a good break from the others. You never know. I mean, once we get out to, some extremes in characters like Captain Marvel, then, maybe bring it back home with somebody who's just not a normal person, but a human being, nothing out of the ordinary.
You know what I want to see? I want to see a Storm movie more than I want to see that.
Sure, and I guarantee you'll probably get something like that further down the road.
Now that Disney got it, like, yeah, we're gonna bring that up.
Right. So what else we have? Okay, so we have some of the first official pictures that came out this week, and a few teaser trailers, very short teaser trailers for Glass.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong, there is going to be a trailer dropping today.
Today, so we're filming this on Friday. It's just before noon on Friday. Currently.
On the East Coast.
Yeah, on the East Coast.
So that means it's real early on the West Coast.
Right. And so, this is, I would say, probably mid-afternoon. We're somewhere around in there. We're supposed to get our first look, a first full-blown trailer of Glass. So this is the sequel to Unbreakable and the sequel to Split, which was the kind of a surprise sequel to Unbreakable.
Yeah.
I'm a big Shyamalan fan.
Is it really a sequel? I feel like they just made a universe without making it an actual sequel.
Well, they said that almost all of the actors had no idea that stinger was going to be at the end of the movie, and tying it in with Bruce Willis sitting in the diner and bringing in his character of David Dunn. But I think Unbreakable has been on a very short list of my favorite movies of all time. So you can imagine my surprise when I'm watching it, and then you get that shot at the end.
It's one of the few movies that M. Night has done right, I feel like.
Recently.
No, I'm not. I'm just gonna say that. Period. If we look at how many movies he's put out, and he's put out at least 12, 15 different films.
No, he hasn't done that. He's probably done, as far as like by himself, written and directed and everything. He's only done 6.
No,
or 7.
It's more than 6. It's more than 6.
Well, so you could count things like Devil, where he was a producer on.
I'm just gonna go off directing.
Avatar.
I'm gonna go off of directing only.
Yeah.
M. Night.
So
he directed.
As far as the core movies that he has written and directed and everything,
we are fact checking this today.
So, but the interesting thing with this is kind of bringing in that whole universe, and so you have the 3 main characters in Glass they've been showing off, and so you have the Beast, David Dunn, and Mr. Glass, Samuel L. Jackson's character. So this is something I'm really looking forward to, because of M. Night Shyamalan's track record of not always being consistent. It does make me a bit nervous because basically Signs was really his last movie that I enjoyed, and then it hit a rut for a very long time. It came back with Devil and
see, you enjoyed Signs. I did not enjoy Signs.
A lot of people didn't. I think it was,
it's
Signs,
like The Village. I despise The Village.
So The Village, my problem with The Village was
everything.
My problem with The Village was it wasn't rewatchable. Like, it was. I kind of figured out what was happening, maybe halfway through the movie, or at least guessed it. And then once that ended up becoming real, I noticed that was how the movie was going to end. Unlike something like Sixth Sense, where you could really pick apart, go back, and have fun with it, and realize that there were multiple times throughout the movie where you probably should have guessed it, but he hit it well enough. But
yeah, he hit it well, but it still was.
Yeah, but
ending ruined the whole movie. The whole premise, even of the monsters and so forth, ruined it. And then you throw in that, oh wait, this is the time frame we're in. That ruined it even more for me. I literally wanted to walk out.
See, I didn't dislike it. I just didn't like it as much as the others. The one that I did not like, that I thought was garbage from the beginning, was I don't even remember the name of it now. The last big one that he did. No. The last one that he wrote and directed before all this, kind of did it all himself with Mark Wahlberg, where the Happening.
The Happening, that was horrible.
The plants and pollen.
So just to give us in perspective, he has directed 13 movies.
Right. But only about half of those were ones that he did, like, written, directed.
So no, I'm going to just go off his directing.
Okay.
13 movies he's directed, and I can only name 3 movies I liked.
Really? I enjoyed
I'm still not giving him Signs. Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, and...
Did you enjoy Split?
I enjoyed Split,
Yeah.
but he didn't direct that.
Right, but that was... He produced it, right?
He produced it, but he didn't direct it, so I'm not even counting that in the 13.
I think he wrote it too, though, didn't he?
Did he write it? Let me find out. I'm here.
not sure.
Unbreakable.
By the way, too, so it was... What was fun
We're doing fact checks right here, right now for y'all.
When you dive back in...
He did write it.
He did write it, okay.
He did write it.
So, Lady in the Water. I liked Lady in the Water because that was so weird and different. It was different from everything else that he's done.
Lady in the Water. I didn't care for After Earth.
I didn't even see After
I
Earth.
despised Airbender. That's probably where most of my hatred comes from.
So, all right, we've discussed previously on our podcast, I'm not a big anime person, and I've never really watched. So, I watched Avatar, The Last Airbender, without having seen any of the cartoons or any background on it, and I didn't really like it. So I know from a fanboy standpoint, and that's not even, that's just skimming across the story. That's not even diving into the fact that it was whitewashed, that they replaced whole characters.
Just so. He wrote Stuart Little?
I did not know that.
Oh God.
But either way, so this is something that I'm really looking forward to myself. Unbreakable is one of my favorite movies ever.
That is one of my favorites. It's pretty much Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, though.
In fact, I would. This is a bold statement, but I think I would actually go so far as to say that Unbreakable is my favorite superhero movie.
That's very bold. That's very bold. I'm not that bold. I'm not going to go ahead and say that.
Just because it was so weird and different, and what the reason why I say that is because I went into it not knowing anything about it. I watched it like on DVD a year or so after it came out.
It looked more like a suspense.
Right, and it became... I ended up watching a comic book movie, a superhero origin story, and I didn't even go into it knowing that.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But we'll keep you up to date on all that, and keep an eye on our channel for the rest of the day today and throughout the weekend. This probably won't be posted until at the earliest later this evening, probably later this weekend anyways. But keep an eye on the Facebook page and everything else, and we'll get that trailer posted up as soon as we can.
So while we're talking about weird, I need to bring this up. Because I'm a 90s kid.
Yeah.
I grew up watching Nickelodeon. There were certain shows that just spoke to you as a kid.
Right.
Hey Arnold was one of them.
Yeah.
It spoke to me. Doug spoke to me. The first one, not the Disney version where it got really weird.
We're talking about the good one that actually took place in the fictional version of our hometown here in Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah. And then Rugrats was another one.
So weird news today.
Weird news this week. They're rebooting it. They're rebooting the whole series. So it looks like they're going to do two forms. They're going to do a TV show, and they're going to do a live action movie.
Rugrats movie. Yeah.
I want you to envision, if you remember what Rugrats looked like, if you listen to the sound of my voice, they were not normal shaped babies.
It was weird.
Okay? They were almost a little deformed to a degree. Yeah. And you want to make this live action.
So I guess it's just going to...
There's no kid walking around looking like Chucky.
Right. Frilly red hair and all that.
The closer you can get is Angelica. Angelica and Susie were like the normal looking ones.
Right.
Because they were toddlers. But everyone else look like monstrosities.
So, but I mean, obviously are they just going to do like a... They're
going to have to CGI the mess out of these babies.
Yeah, just babies talking. I mean, I don't know, this whole thing sounds
This is either Baby Genius, where we're going to see babies that don't look like the Rugrats talking, or this is going to be CGI babies,
right?
Which is going to creep everyone out.
Yeah, it's probably going to be creeping everybody out either way.
Whoever is in charge of this project, please be mindful that Rugrats is only supposed to be animated, and that's it. This is not to be live action. Please stop what you're doing now. Do not make this live action. I beg of you.
I'm kind of intrigued just to see what it looks like and if it's a train wreck.
Throw some concept art for Clay out here. I don't want to see nothing of the sort. I feel like if they did a live action Rugrats, I will have nightmares. And my child, when I take her, will have nightmares as well.
Probably. Yeah. So kind of keeping in that same, going back to the Marvel side of things, little bit off topic with Rugrats, but we have Zazie Beetz, who we all know. She was one of the best parts about Deadpool 2.
She was definitely the breakout artist.
So this is Domino from Deadpool
Domino 2. Good.
It
almost made you want your own Domino movie.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think you'd have to have a pretty
you have to still have
ridiculous
a good
supporting cast.
Yeah, you have to have a supporting class. Even that, make the X-Force. I feel like X-Force, I want her on it, but I don't want her on it. Because once you really see her powers on screen, you can't help but to laugh.
Right.
You really can't. And X-Force is supposed to be a little bit more serious.
Right.
If you throw her in there, I'm just going to be laughing the whole time, just waiting for her scenes.
But it works. Her character works perfectly with Deadpool. So we found out this week that Zazie Beetz is also joining the other side of the comic world in DC. She's going to be
the movie that Clay despises right now. The thought of Joaquin Phoenix Joker standalone solo movie.
I don't. All right. I don't despise it.
Yes, he does.
I just
listen
don't understand
to his voice.
I just don't understand why we need it.
Don't listen to the words coming out of his mouth. Listen to his voice. You can taste the disgust in his voice right now.
We don't need it, and we've never needed a Joker origin movie. I don't really care, and I'm a Joker fan. So they're really going to have to work hard to pull me into a theater.
You know what? And that brought to mind, because you're a big Batman animated series fan, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Because I was thinking about this the other day. Like, if you look at Batman animated series, almost every villain got an origin story except for Joker.
Right. And there's kind of a reason for that. It's that, again, with our previous video that we've worked on, talking about how...
best villains.
Right, how Joker
Check that up on YouTube.
Yeah. Talking about how Joker is chaotic evil. You don't need an origin story because I think it takes away from the character. I just like the craziness of, just like in The Dark Knight, no ID on him, nothing in his pockets but knives and lint, no fingerprints, they can't trace him, where did he come from? It's a mystery.
But what if they do it well?
They could do it well, but then, and if that's the thing, is if they do it well, if it's a compelling reason for me to get to a theater, then why not just stick with Jared Leto? Like, I think they didn't give him enough screen time to prove his character in Suicide Squad. Why do we need to bring in a different actor? And they're saying that this is not going to have anything to do with the other movies. It's just confusing.
Maybe we're finally getting into the whole DC multiverse. They said, you know what? Let's not try to have a united extended universe.
Right.
Let's just go ahead and have multiverse. Let's just throw out our movies whenever we want to, and we're a little ambiguous on if they're connected or if they're not connected.
Right.
And then when we do a Justice League movie, and just do it.
I just don't know if it's going to be as much fun unless they somehow tie them together. I
feel like Marvel has conditioned us to now expect certain movies to be connected.
Yeah.
Because I get you. Because I'll be messed up if they come up with a Batman movie and we don't have one of those and they have another third Joker.
Right.
And then we're like, well, what happens to the other two?
Right. I think just from a standpoint of the general fan base, not the hardcore fanboys that are necessarily going to know all of that. Just the normal people who are going to support a movie like that want to go because it's a Batman film or a Joker film. I think it's going to get confusing.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't know. Yeah, we'll wait and see how that goes.
But speaking on that, we had one person leave. She hasn't left Marvel. She's just doing double duty. Because it doesn't seem like it's a big character. It's a single mother role that just catches the eye of the Clown Prince.
Right.
So this just came out this morning. We don't have that much information, so we'll stay tuned. Hopefully we'll get more in the next couple months, because this is gonna be. We got a date for it. I think it's October 14th, 2019.
Yeah, the end of next year. Yeah.
So
year and a half.
They're gonna have to start doing stuff soon. This is not gonna be. Oh, well, we're going to be waiting years before anything comes out. They're going to rush. I don't know if they're going to rush, but they're going to get all their casting done now in the next month or so. And then they're going to start filming.
Right.
And then post-production, because it's not even a big budget. It's less than the Deadpool
Yeah, and I think that's important to remember too. Is this is a smaller scale. This is not going to be a movie with a terrible amount.
This is not going to be a CGI
Yeah.
army skylight situation.
Which is how they're going to have it ready in a year and a couple of months, basically.
I think this is going to be more character driven storyline, and not so much action and fatigue. You might have some murder scenes. It might even turn into like a slasher type movie where you don't see it happen. You might hear
crime thriller, that sort of thing. Remains to be seen if they'll be able to.
More to come. We're gonna have again. This is coming out next year, October, 2019. So we're gonna be getting more information as we go along. Probably get a trailer next San Diego Comic-Con, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I would imagine a year from now we'll be watching a trailer, or at least some sort of teaser. So you got some Spider-Man news, right?
So yeah, Namab Akar, and I'm pretty sure I'm butchering that, is casted as the Chameleon in Spider-Man. Now, in Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, they haven't outright said, like, this character is playing Chameleon there. I forget the Chameleon's, like, true identity. He's playing the true identity of the Chameleon.
Right.
So, it looks like he might be playing the Chameleon. I'm pretty sure we're going to get something along the lines, because, let's face it, we're getting to this point where we do put multiple villains in movies. Right. I mean, even the last Spider-Man Homecoming movie,
which has hurt Spider-Man movies in the past.
It's hurt, but was there double villains in Spider-Man 2?
Spider-Man 2?
In Raimi version.
Besides Ock?
I don't think so, was there?
I don't think there has been. No, because the first two just had the one villain.
One villain, and then they jumped to 3.
Well, was it 3 or it was 3 or 4 in Spider-Man 3?
Spider-Man 3 was Green Goblin, Sandman, Venom, and Sandman.
Yeah, and throughout the whole thing, they were kind of hinting at other villains, but I don't think anybody else really.
So, but we've it hasn't been horrible having multiple villains. Like Homecoming, we had Shocker, we had Vulture, we had hints at Scorpion, not full Scorpion, but
you kind of saw the kind of a not even a full blown Shocker. It was just kind of the origins of where he's coming from.
I don't think it's bad to have like a little cameo for another villain.
No, as long as it's done right.
And Mysterio and Chameleon, I can see them being in the same area. Mm-hmm. I mean, Mysterio's dealing with special effects and so forth. Chameleon's dealing with makeup.
Right.
Maybe this is going to be set in San Francisco or Hollywood or something. I don't know.
Far From Home. Well, they're filming in London, I think, but I don't know if that necessarily means anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, that would be Far From Home.
We've seen Atlanta, Georgia be everywhere.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think Disney and Marvel have a contract with the city for that.
I think Atlanta just, besides being the Black Hollywood, I just think it's just it's like a great place to film. Like the costs to purchase land and rent land is a lot cheaper.
It's a large city in the South, so it's cheaper to do things and still film in a city. If you go anywhere up north, it's going to be way more expensive. And so the state and the city have incentives for that sort of thing. So then next on the list, we have this is really interesting. This is a fan theory that's been circulating on Reddit about Infinity War. So at this point, if you haven't seen Infinity War...
Okay, spoiler, I'm going to wave my hands. If you're watching this, I'm waving my hands now, let you know there's spoilers about to come. I'll wave my hands again when the spoiler's over. You can just fast forward through it. But if you haven't seen it, including my wife, just go see it. Just wait.
What are you doing? Why have you waited this long?
It's about to come on digital in a couple weeks.
Yeah. So this fan theory is, if you remember during Infinity War, when Strange and Iron Man, they're all on Titan. And Doctor Strange is looking through the different ways they can try and win. He comes out, says he saw I think it was like 14 million different versions of reality, and they only won in one scenario. Mm-hmm. And at this point, Thanos is on his way to Titan to collect the Time Stone from Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange says to Tony and to Spider-Man that he would basically let them die before handing over that stone. Then he goes through and sees all the different ways things could happen. And then when Thanos arrives, you don't see that time stone. It's gone. And it's not until Doctor Strange is on the ground and Tony Stark has been stabbed by Thanos, and Thanos is getting ready to kill him when Doctor Strange stops him and says, okay, you can have it. And he holds out his hand and the time stone appears. So this theory goes off of Doctor Strange was not hiding the time stone between when he saw the different versions of and realized there's only one way to win, and that fight ensues, and then he hands it over, contradicting what he said before. The theory is that he was not hiding it. He took the time stone and sent it to the future. Now, the time stone cannot travel through space. It can only travel through time. So if he sent it through the future, it would arrive on Titan after the snap, right? So the idea, this fan theory, is that when Doctor Strange realized that in most, if not all scenarios, he was going to die during the snap was inevitable. Mm-hmm. The only way around it was to send that time stone to the future, and Tony Stark may have been the only one that survived in every scenario. And he knew that Tony knew how to work on stones because of the Mind Stone of Vision. Yeah. He had worked with it before. So this theory is that Avengers 4 may start off with Tony and Nebula being the only ones left on Titan, realizing that everything's gone to hell. You know, everybody's been evaporated. Half of existence has been wiped out. And that movie could start with the time stone appearing right in front of them, because Doctor Strange sent it forward through time. They could then use that time stone to rewind time, and then it would disappear to go back to Infinity War with enough time for Doctor Strange to hand it over to Thanos. And this fan theory also goes into this weird time lapse, and the time stone being in two different places at one time is what causes the Infinity Gauntlet to basically fry itself after Thanos snaps his hand, because when you see Thanos in that last scene of the movie, the gauntlet is just burnt to a crisp and crumbled. Mm-hmm. So maybe, you know, this seemed like a pretty feasible thing. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
It seems feasible.
Also because we cheated a little bit, and we know from set pictures that Avengers 4 involves time travel.
It does involve time travel. Like, no matter what we see, no matter what we know so far, time travel is involved in the next one. Mm. I will be shocked if it isn't involved, to be honest. Now, at this point, I'll be really shocked if it isn't involved. So, it's a good theory. I mean, we're hearing, you're going to hear a lot of fan theories. Yeah. Like a lot of crazy ones. I've heard one about his son traveling in the future. Right.
And yeah, it also seems like Avengers 4 may have a time jump as well.
Yeah, because I think they're looking to cast an older Cassie already.
I think they already have. I think we already have. So Cassie being Ant-Man's daughter, who we just saw as maybe a 10-year-old in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So obviously there's going to be a lot of weird things with time going on. This is a pretty compelling theory, though.
It's compelling. I don't think any fan theory. I've seen very few fan theories actually come to life. Right. I think they're more for enjoyment.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And I think this is enjoyable. I don't think it's going to happen.
Well, remember when we post this video, remember to go back to it in 9 months or so after you've watched Avengers 4 and see if this
is it even 9 months. Right. What is it? It's coming out April?
May? It's May. I think it's May. Yeah.
We're gonna get a notification right before. Oh, we moved it up into April.
Right. So either way, it's
gotta make sure these numbers line up versus last year.
Yeah. So it's something really fun to try and consider. How the because time travel can be such a crazy thing, and you get into paradoxes, and if this is in fact how they go with that story, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So then you have some DC news to discuss.
So DC news. All right. So DC, I'm telling you, DC's going to win this Comic-Con this year because they are doing all the business. They finally gave us more details on DC Universe, which catch our... I'm not going to go into it. I really want to. I really want to, because that price.
Yeah.
But catch that up on our recap show of Comic-Con. But they announced this week, too. This wasn't at Comic-Con, so we're going to talk about it. The CW is going to start working on a Batwoman CW show.
Yeah.
So, that tells me two things. That tells me, one, DC is not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm.
DC Universe is something new. They're going to just keep it as something new. They're going to still stick with their bread and butter CW. There's people that still love CW. And there's people that are just cringing at it. But they do very well with new shows for some reason. Like the first season of a new show tends to go very well.
Yeah.
It's the after.
Right.
First season.
They're trying to extend the story without dragging it out.
So, yeah. We got Batwoman. Kate will be the head of this. She will show up in the crossover event this fall in the CW. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see more of that, and that's going to kind of launch it, and it looks like they're going to be coming out with that in 2019. And when we say 2019, we're most likely talking about fall of 2019.
Right.
Because they normally start, their year normally starts in fall and not in the spring or anything. So
yeah. So on the same side of things with DC, but on a different network.
Go from Batwoman to Batman, huh?
Yeah. So Gotham, for those of you who have been tuning in, I'm a big Gotham fan. For whatever reason, I don't have cable, and when I do have cable, it's typically YouTube TV, so I don't have CW, so I've never really kept up with any of the CW shows. But Gotham, I've had a lot of fun with. I've been watching that since the beginning. I'm a huge Batman fan. So we got word, I think it was only in the last week of the fourth season, back in the spring, we found out that they were being renewed for a fifth and final season, and they did make a point of saying that it was going to be a half season. So instead of 22 episodes, we're talking about 10 probably. And so this week they let it out that Gotham Season 5, the final season, is going to be airing in January. And if you go to IMDb or any of the other websites you might visit to look at episode counts, the titles, I believe, for the first 5 episodes, the first half of the season, they've been revealed. And so we're going with, I think it's a 0-year storyline, and so it's going to be fun. I'm interested to see how they wrap it up. I'm also interested to see if it gets poached by a Netflix or Hulu or one of those.
I don't think it's going to get poached. I think if this does very well, DC Universe is going to pick it up.
Yeah, well, I think this could potentially be the first show that is poached by DC Universe.
Yeah.
I think it would make sense.
The 0-year storyline is a very fascinating storyline. Mm-hmm. This is Bruce coming into his own.
Right.
It's him saying, all right, I am going to be the hero this city deserves. And is the Bruce Wayne actor, is he old enough to be Batman yet?
Yeah, well, I think he's like 17 or 18, something like that. Okay. I mean, more importantly, he's gotten tall enough, because there for a while, I think
he was a midget for a good while.
Well, he was a kid at first, but he grew pretty quickly. And I'm also interested to see how this next season goes. I'm a big fan of Cameron Beacon-Dova, who plays Selena Kyle in Gotham. And she plays a character really well, and they kind of, for those of you who tuned in to the last episode of the last season, season 4, they wrapped everything up with basically combining Selena Kyle with Barbara Gordon, and that Selena Kyle is the one who the Joker shoots in the stomach and paralyzes. Oh. So now we have the season ended with Selena Kyle being brought into a hospital, presumably paralyzed from the waist down. So are we going to get some sort of Batman, 0 year with a combined Catwoman Oracle character? Yeah. I don't know. It'll be fun. So we'll see how that goes. We have to wait till January.
DC, you're very good at multiverses. Just chalk it up, everything up to the multiverse.
Right.
Do whatever you want to do. Give your creators free reigns to do whatever they want to do, so we can get some good content.
Yeah. So we'll keep you up to date on all that as it comes through.
And then we had...
Staying on the DC lineup.
Yeah, DC's about to be... They're really trying to do some stuff. So they did announce, I think this was like last Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So we had just missed it on our podcast last week. But they announced some of the heroes or some of the peak characters that's going to be in the Birds of Prey movie. We already know Margot Robbie is signed up for the Birds of Prey.
Mm-hmm.
So she will be playing Harley Quinn. And then we have a couple other characters. It looks like Black Canary will be in there.
Right.
Huntress. We have Cassandra Cain's Batgirl. If you don't know Cassandra Cain's Batgirl, she's known as Orphan in the comic book series now. But what she pretty much was a Batgirl who was the daughter of a League of Assassins and a mobster. And she was pretty much raised to be a killer. And Batman helped reform her into a good guy.
Right.
But she's mute. She's not mute, but she's like, she doesn't speak often. So that's a very interesting character development.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Ray Montoya, who, if you watch the Batman animated series, she was one of the police officers that worked with him quite often. She was brought from the animated series into the comics, and then later became the Question in the comics back in the early 2000s. But very good character. It looks like a great lineup already. Yeah. I want to see some more anti-heroes come into play. Or not anti-heroes, but some of the villains like Poison Ivy, Catwoman. At least Poison Ivy. I think I said this last week. Don't need Catwoman to be in this. It'd be nice, but I don't need it. Poison Ivy, I need in this movie because you need someone to be partnered up with Carly.
Right.
And it looks like there's rumors that the villain will be David Cain, which is Cassandra Cain's father. So it
could be interesting.
It's a good villain to pick. More to come because we haven't heard any casting yet.
Right.
And I think we'll hear more about the movie when some casting calls have been made. So.
Yeah. So then again, sticking with DC, a little more DC news. Suicide Squad 2, they announced, I think it was last week, that Suicide Squad 2 will begin filming by the end of 2018, by the end of this year, so within the next 5 months, and it was delayed because of Will Smith's schedule. So.
Well, and let's face it, like Will has been, not only has he been more public lately, doing a lot more stuff on Instagram, YouTube, doing more interviews. His wife has been very vocal with her own talk show on Facebook and
playing Fish Mooney on Gotham.
Yeah. I'm not surprised he has a busy schedule.
No, it's Will Smith. I would be shocked if he didn't have a busy schedule.
And he's still competitive. I just listened to a recent interview. Like, he's kind of hurt that, well, not hurt, but he's kind of motivated to be more active now because The Rock is now the highest paid actor. He used to be the highest paid actor. So now he's going like, I got to get back out of there.
Right.
I got to do some more stuff.
Yeah.
So I think the interview I just saw him do, he was in Turkey. So filming for a movie. So
all over the place. But, obviously there were a lot of standout stars, but Will Smith was really the star power.
Will Smith and Margot Robbie were pretty much the focus of that movie.
Right. But going into it, a lot of people didn't necessarily know Margot Robbie, outside of The Wolf of Wall Street or a couple of other movies.
It was funny this wasn't the first time they worked together, Will and Margot, because they did Focus right before.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
And I enjoyed that movie. Mm-hmm. Wow, that was very good. If you want something like chill, and you're like, I want an unexpected movie, Focus is actually a pretty good movie to throw on the tube. But they worked together before. I think they worked pretty well together. And they're going to be doing this again. The question is, what random bad guy villain is going to be thrown onto the Suicide Squad to kill?
I don't know. If they're smart, maybe they'll go back to the Joker and do what they should have done to begin with and have a more compelling villain.
Well, no, not a villain for them to fight. A villain for them to kill. Like, when you join the Suicide Squad, some members are going to die.
You mean like the
Slipknot, and even and Diablo.
Presumably dead. Yeah.
Presumably.
So we're looking for the.
He did.
the DC equivalent of Star Trek's red shirts, where if it's Captain Kirk and Spock and a guy in a red shirt, the guy in the red shirt's probably going to die. We'll have to see. I'd have to do a deeper dive into some of the Suicide Squad comics and just see what other characters.
Yeah, there's been a lot too, because even Black Man has been a part of it.
But ones that would be expendable.
That's what I'm saying. Like, who can you have that's like really expendable?
I think everybody kind of figured that. I even thought maybe Slipknot would last longer than what he did, but no, I mean that was like not even into the first mission, and they blow his head off. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Let's just some random villains. Don't even give them that much of a backstory, so we can just kill them.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. And then, what was the next topic you wanted to discuss?
Well, then we have our random battles. So
switching things up a little.
So, what we normally do in our podcast weekly, we would go into this bucket of names and it's characters from any genre: video games, comics, television, movies, whatever. You can see anything in our random battle. It can be Rocky Balboa versus Superman. Like, we don't know. So we decided to change up the rules a little bit. We're going to still keep the rules that it is a death match.
Yeah.
To the death. Morality will not come into play. And we're also going to add 2 more rules. One is we're not going to debate it right away anymore.
We're going to let it simmer.
Yes. So, remember how I thought we're going to try to get some more engagement? What we're going to do is we're going to pick the names today, and then me, Clay, and myself will go back and research our people we pick.
Get our arguments together.
Get our arguments, and then while we're doing that, we're also going to be posting on social media, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and getting your comments. And your comments will be read on the podcast and on YouTube, so you can kind of see so you can give us some help on who would win this random battle. And the other part is who we pick will not be for ourselves. It will actually be for our contender. So whatever name I pick, that's the name that Clay's going to go with. Whoever Clay pick, that's the hero or character I'm going to go with. All right?
So we'll switch it up, and we want to hear some feedback from you.
That way it's completely random. You cannot say, oh, this is fixed. Nothing. It's completely random. So, all right?
So let's go ahead and draw.
So yeah, we're not going to do a random battle today.
Yeah.
We're just going to pick the names, and then we'll talk about it next week on the podcast. So let's go ahead and do it.
All right.
All right.
So next week, you're going to have to argue for Superboy from Young Justice.
Nice. Right when we're about to get a trailer from Comic-Con. That works out. And you will be...
This is going to be good.
You will be debating Superman from Rebirth comics.
Yeah. So, arguing for Superboy, arguing for Superman. I think we already know how this is going to go.
No. This is not one-sided, all right, people?
We'll give it a week. We want to hear your feedback.
Give us your feedback. Put in the comments down below who you think will win. Give us some beats that you think will help our arguments. And there you have it.
Yeah.
So, thanks again for listening. This will be on iTunes, Google Play, Buzzsprout. We are trying to work with SoundCloud right now. It's a little funky, but we are getting them up there. And then...
we have some stuff on Twitch happening too. Stay tuned to that.
Yeah, we're working on that. Working on a schedule for Twitch so you can see some streaming. So stay tuned to that. And then also make sure you stay tuned to the YouTube channel as we do a recap of everything that we enjoyed and loved about Comic-Con this week. It's so much stuff already.
It's going to be a lot of stuff to go through.
I'm literally checking my phone every 5 seconds.
So expect that to be at beginning of next week sometime?
I'm going to try to get Sunday or Monday morning we'll be putting that up. Yeah. So more to come.
We'll keep you in the loop on everything. Just stay tuned to the channel.
I'm just trying to make sure there's nothing else that just came out.
Just keep refreshing Twitter.
Yeah, because it's just so much. Oh, the gifted thing is going on right now. Oh man.
Yeah. So stay tuned to our social network. Don's doing a great job of keeping everything posted as it happens too.
Trying to. So,
Yeah.
but thanks again. Geek Philosophy, Geek Way of Thinking. Have a great day, y'all.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for stopping by Geek Philosophy. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, put your philosophies in the comments, and also hit that subscribe button so you can be notified of all future videos. Thanks for stopping by Geek Philosophy, the Geek Way of Thinking.